up, everyone? Welcome to 10K on the Bay. This is episode number 3. I'm going to go over some pricing with you guys and just basically some ideas and a little bit more detail on my goal this year. So basically, I just got back from Japan. I have been gone for 9 days. I had roughly 100 sales while I was gone. I've been averaging a little bit over 1% sell through each day at around 2,000 items. So I'm around 20 items a day. Because I edited my handling time to 5 business days, I think that probably is the reason why my sales slowed down to around 10. And also, I wasn't listing. I had my lister listing, but she was basically maintaining the level. She listed about 150 items, and I sold 100, so we didn't grow too much. Pretty much consistently all year, I've been growing 250 listings per week, and that's basically my goal for the remainder of the year. And I was considering potentially speeding up the process, and after what I've been seeing, I'm actually potentially going to slow down my process a little bit. I might actually lower my goal because I want to be the person that has great attention to detail, and right now, to be honest, it's not that great. It looks organized, but sometimes tags are placed improperly. I'm not taking the time to properly train my staff. There's mistakes being made. I need to probably take a step back, slow down, because if the mistakes multiply as they get bigger, it's going to become a disaster. Right now I only have one negative feedback with 4,000 sales, and that's because I improperly marked the shipping cost. Or I'm sorry, I didn't pay for enough shipping when I shipped the item, and that was because I didn't properly weigh the item. So I'm going to take a little bit more time and add the exact item weight to every single listing, or rather I'm going to have my lister do that so that I can be a little bit more accurate. And even though I'm going to put the exact weight in, I'm still going to charge a handling cost of $1 to $2 per item. And the reason I do that is because I have best offer on every single one of my items. And I'm going to keep this strategy for the rest of the year. I'm going to have maybe a couple of auctions, but from my experience, auctions end at 10 to 25% less than if I just wait up to 60 days for my buy it now. So I just want to give you guys sort of a basic idea of how I do my pricing. So I'm looking for items that are about 75% off retail. That's what I'm looking for. So for example, let's say an item is $100. I'm going to be looking to buy that item for $25, and then I'm going to list the item at $100 with a 25% discount roughly. And so that's going to make it look like it's a good deal. I mean, I'm not the kind of person that lists items for like 300 and then do 75% off, because I think people are not stupid. I think they see that and they think that you're price gouging or doing some kind of shenanigans. So I like to list items at what I think the retail is, list for about 25% off, and I want to be in the item for a quarter. So that means if it's $100, I'm in item 25, I'm going to list for 75 and try to get it pretty close to that amount, but I will take a little bit less because I want to net 25. So I want to net 50. So I'll look at the cost and try to make it so I average double my money after fees after 60 days. That's really the goal that I'm looking for my pricing. And so there's a lot of eBay sellers out there who do the quick flip. They're looking for their item back. Like if you look at Chad Pagel, he even mentioned he tries to get his money back in 24 hours sometimes. And if you get really, really unique items and you do a really good job of keywords, you will sell in 24 hours if you have a hot item, because people have filters set up looking for specific keywords. I have it. So for just as an idea for you guys, Lululemon, right? It's a super, super hot brand. It's commonly misspelled. So I have some filters set up, and if I see it pop up spelled incorrectly, I'll buy it within a minute of it being listed, because typically if its keywords are not properly set up or it's misspelled, that person doesn't know what they're doing. I'm gonna get it for a good deal, and I can even flip that. That just happened to me twice. I bought 2 pieces of Lululemon, flipped both of them for twice what they were listed for. Both times they were spelled incorrectly. So anyway, the reason why keywords are super important is because people have filters set up. If you are a quick flipper and you're looking for that quick 24-hour flip, you definitely need to find items that are super hot, that can sustain, or that have more people with those keywords searches. Like I'm one of thousands of people, I'm sure, who have a Lululemon filter set up. So if we go to the next thing, which is that was quick flip, super quick. If you go to the long term, like let's say Scavenger Life, they're if you listen to their last podcast, they are willing to wait 1 to 2 years for an item to sell. They're looking for, and basically, if you look at their pricing strategy, it's worth it. It's only costing them 10 cents per month to list the item, and they're getting 10 times, 20 times, sometimes 50 times their money back. It's worth the wait. And their idea is to grow the size of their store each month so they can gain that momentum. And from what I have seen, looks like their income is pretty steady. It's not exponential, so it's not growing exponentially as their store gets bigger, but I think that's the nature of collectible items. I'm sorry, not collectible, but vintage, or like sell a lot of mid-century stuff, which you're looking for a very specific buyer, and that doesn't necessarily scale like at 1,000 items you get 10 sales, and 2,000 you get 20 sales. I don't think it works like that for those types of items. But I do think it works like that with commodities or quick flip type items. If you had twice as many items in your store, and let's say on a scale of 1 to 100, you're pricing your items at say $60, you're gonna sell through a lot faster than me, who's pricing it at $75, just because you're more competitive on pricing. If you have the same keywords, your items are gonna sell through faster. I see that when I look at people who have a 30-day sell-through rate. I've experimented, and I can get my sell-through rate to 30 days also by just pricing it lower. And let's say you price it at 50 and you end at 25, and you double your money before fees. That's okay. It's still profitable. If you're spending a little bit more money for your items, that works. I sell a lot of electronics. I'm probably gonna move away from some super heavy bulky items just because of the time. It takes me 3 to 4 times as long to pack versus a piece of clothing. It takes me more time to test. Yeah, the profit margins are really high, but again, the time commitment, plus sometimes I don't have the right equipment to test it. I'm really rolling the dice unless I put it as for parts or untested, and that generally lowers my profit item. So I'm looking for the happy medium, which is about 60 days, and listing for items for about 25% less of retail. That's just my strategy. I want to share one more tip, which I got from Casey the Rockstar Flipper, which is running a constant 48-hour sale. This has been awesome for me. Basically, I mark all my items at above what I want, between 25 and 30% over what I'm looking for, and I run sales constantly. Now, I used to do like a sale that runs to the end of the month or whatever period of time I was using, and that wasn't as effective as running the sale for 48 hours at a time. So what I'm doing with Markdown Managers, I'm going in, I'm marking it down a specific item, and I have it end at the scheduled time I have to do the sale, which is 7 a.m. every day. So 7 a.m., my 48-hour listings are going to end because I run a different sale every day on my items. And I'm just listing the other items that expire on another 48-hour sale. So when people are looking at my items, it always says the sale ends in 2 days. And that's definitely helped my sell-through rate. I'm always going to run a sale. People like sales. I like sales. I don't like paying retail. If you go to factory outlets, I recommend, this is a pro tip, go look at how Coach or Xenia or Gucci or Prada prices their outlet items. You'll see they price it at 2, 3, 4 times more than it actually is at the retail store. I'll give you an example. On some Gucci sneakers that I bought, the actual retail of the item is $420. At the outlet, the actual retail is $980 with a 75% discount, which is like really around 30 to 40% off. And sometimes they do weird things like, oh, we'll tax you on the actual retail amount, or weird games that they play to get people to buy things. But it works. When people see 75% off, they will start getting their wallet out. So I mean, they're not doing that because it doesn't work. So you can run large sales and sort of inflate your prices. I don't recommend you do that. I recommend you sort of list things at retail and sell them for a little bit less. This is just my opinion for sustainable growth. If you try to ravage people on super vintage items, it's okay, but it just doesn't scale the same as selling $100 items for $75. That to me mentally makes more sense, and you're only in the item $25. If you need a little bit of extra cash flow, you can just lower the price to the 50. You'll be super competitive. You'll be in the quick flip market of getting your items sold within 30 days and turning that money over quick. But for me, it takes me a lot of time to source. I'm not going to redonate items after 30 days. And I've actually started selling damaged items between 35 and 50% of retail. And they're selling really well. Every single shirt I have with a huge stain, a tear, the zipper's broken, I'm just listing it as is, describing it as well as I can, using all 12 photos and just saying, look, you could pay twice or 3 times as much for one that's in perfect condition, or you can try to repair this or do your own work, and you're getting it for almost what I paid for it. And I'm just doing that to basically fill my store with items, plus it makes me more money than redonating the item back. And since I'm not going to be doing the majority of the listing in the future, I want to focus my time on making sure the work of my listers is full. So one last idea for you guys is basically I need 3 full-time listers to reach my goal of 10,000 items. I want a 1/3 sell-through, each 1/3 to 1/2 sell-through rate each month, which means I'm going to be selling 3,300 to 5,000 items per month. So my goal is to get that amount of work, which there is no shortcuts. Like, somebody has to do the work to buy and list 3,000 to 5,000 items. The math is the same. You could figure out a way to speed it up or be more efficient, or if you're really smart, you can have other people do the entire thing. You can do essentially drop shipping, but you hold the inventory, which is kind of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make a chart so someone can go buy the stuff I want. I'm trying to make a chart so someone can list it. I'm trying to make a chart so someone can ship it. So basically all I'm doing is just designing charts. I want to be a chart maker or a game maker, and that for me is where I want to end with this. That's where I'm going in the future, because for 3 people to list 3,000 to 5,000 items a month is a lot easier than me doing it all myself. Maybe not even possible. And I think that last thought, and I've probably mentioned this in a previous video, but I have seen and met a lot of successful sellers in my life, and the people who make the most money always sell the most items. So I'm going to repeat that. I think that people who make the most money sell the most items. They're not the people who make the highest home runs per item. They don't have the highest per item, but for sure they have more home runs than the people who say they only do home runs. Because when you're selling that kind of volume, you just learn so much about everything. So see you guys next time on episode 4.